The dream doesn't stop. You started, but that goes for
Yeah.
all of
All
us.
right.
But you're
Well,
doing it.
yeah. I mean, I also the reality is that they often say that the second film is harder to make than the first. So my
I just
journey has just begun.
yeah.
Welcome back to Real Dopes. As always, I'm George. This is Ian, and happy Easter. We're here on Easter, to keep you entertained, teach you a little thing or two about film.
Easter party.
Um, but yeah, we got a good show for you today. We got our friend Jeff coming in a little while. As always, we'll catch you guys up on what we've been up to at work and whatever other things, and then we'll end the episode as always with Connie's Corner, where this week we're going to break down the movie Coherence.
Yes, dude.
But yeah,
Time. I love movies about time.
yeah. No, that's going to be a good one. I like when indie ones, kind of take it in a good direction, where it's just like the moment they can get you to stop thinking about the low budget, you're like, oh, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, exactly. How bad the lighting was, I was like so surprised. But
Yeah.
we'll save that for later.
Yeah, but let's jump back real quick because right before we started rolling here, so yeah, you were kind of breaking down some woes here of what happens.
Just complaining. I'm complaining about my fucking week, man.
No, but before we get into deeper work stuff, go ahead. Let's talk about it.
All right, so I got my little company Grease. With my good friends Mark and Alexa.
Nice. And let's just note, everyone, he has still not sent me a koozie.
You got a tattoo when you came to the house, though.
That was pre-Grease, That was both, That's like, how the school couldn't function before John Travolta came in? That's my life right now.
Yeah. I have no idea what the fuck you were referencing just
now. Oh, you said Grease, so I ran with it.
Oh my, got it.
I drank coffee today, everyone.
Dude, that's something else I gotta get to. Even more so, work has been annoying. No work. And I've just been focusing on doing this like just cleaning our books. Like our books are just so messy because Mark was running the show and then he got full-time work and then he's climbing the ladder over there and he's fucking doing great. But he just was like, here's the password to QuickBooks. And I was like, sick. I don't know how to do this, but now I know how. And now we're about to pay our taxes for the past 3 years.
Nice.
So
you're like, I don't know what I did, but I hit this button and we're getting 30,000 back. So
no, I'll tell you one thing. I know exactly what I fucking did, dude. It has been a fucking mess, bro. Like, it's not even like, oh, between TurboTax and our accountant and shit. It's like somehow the bank so QuickBooks automatically pulls from our banks, right? So like you click on like update the bank and it updates all the transactions. We have 2 bank accounts. Both of them got completely fucked somehow. It was like like nothing is correct. Dude, fucking 3 months ago, it showed that we had negative $300,000 in both of our accounts. And there were just like duplicate and like fucked up charges. So I have to go through manually every single charge on both bank accounts and delete the ones from QuickBooks that are duplicates or not correct and add in the ones that aren't there. And then I have to go through the credit card. I have to go through our credit card, George. Credit card, that's like every time we went to Home Depot. That's the bank is it's you paid off your credit card.
It's serious when, people's names come out. He's like, George, I don't think you understand.
Dude, it's fucked. Also, this week, I think I triggered a gluten intolerance.
I mean, all millennials have to eventually, right?
I fucking, on Friday, coming back from the music video, that day I just ate so much. We drove, like, I ate a lot I had like 5 boiled eggs and fucking cereal and all this shit in the morning.
Yeah.
And I had a big old beef jerky. And
do you hear yourself though?
And I wasn't hungry. And I had lunch at Shake Shack, and then I ate some chocolate. And then we got back we drove 3 hours and I fucking fell asleep the whole time. Then we got back and I went and drank beer. And then I drank more beer. And then I ate Frito chili pie, and then I had some French fries, and then I got
Ooh,
home,
good old
and then
Frito pie.
Amy ordered Domino's, and I ate like 3 slices of pizza, and I went to sleep in so much pain, and I woke up the next morning, I was full until 3 p.m., and then the next day, my tummy was still full, but I was hungry, but anything I ate hurt, and then Monday, I was still bloated, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I stopped eating bread, and I started feeling better, and I was like, "Oh, no, dude." And I haven't been able to drink coffee all week, like, I've
Yeah.
been drinking tea, bro, black tea,
This man just
and, like,
described
kombucha.
like a full-on buffet, like a kid on Halloween. He's like, I don't know why lately my stomach hurts. Like
No,
literally,
that's why, but
you
it, like,
described like
triggered an intolerance.
a full 12 hours of like eating shit basically, and you're like, so I
Dude,
think it's
the worst.
gluten. That's what I'm saying. Do you hear yourself? It's the perfect millennial
No.
thing. Like you have all the things explained, and you're just like, so it's clearly the gluten. Like you know what we
No,
should
but
do? We should change the GMOs, and while we're at it, let's get those fake straws at every Starbucks.
no, I'm not implying anything for anyone else, and my decisions were mine. If I could keep doing it, I would. But this week, I have an appointment with the gastro on fucking Wednesday. But this week, dude, it's just been so annoying, bro. Like, I feel like I've been like I've been like waking up to having to do this dumb fucking bullshit that no one wants to do, and then having to like not drink coffee in the morning and like not eat what I want, and like, dude, I did use it as an excuse to buy locks. I love buying salmon locks at
Ooh.
a grocery store.
Can we just talk about that for a second? This is gonna be an age old topic, but it really is kind of huge how much LA sucks in food compared to New York when it comes to especially like breakfast and just like the go-to
Yeah,
things. Like you're saying that right now, and I'm like, I feel like that's just I don't even I mean I might be biased, but I'm like that's pretty synonymous with New York. Like try go and get that over here, and then you're gonna have your gluten problem. Like here's this fake bread bagel and like salmon we got from last week somewhere. Saying how's my week? Well, it's perfect time to segue right into our weekly work recap, right? I'm gonna keep saying that until I don't know, I can nail it without thinking about it. Every time I say the syllables.
Weekly
But week
recap.
the weekly yeah, you know, not a whole lot, but I had an interview, so that's a start, right? Something's happening around here. Yeah. I mean,
Was that the same one you were talking about last week?
yeah. So this week was the interview,
Okay.
you know. I haven't heard yet.
And that's a whole show, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, right? It's always hard to gauge those things. It almost feels a little less about for us, you know what I mean? Like for us it's a little less about like representing yourself for what I've done, and it's a lot of just like personality meets recommendations, right? So it's like it's hard to gauge them. So we'll see. But I also got like a few calls for some things coming up. Nothing like not a steady amount of work, but you know, I mean, I'll take it. You know, just like a few days here and there this month. So I'll be talking about those a little as they happen.
Fuck yeah, phone calls are where it's at, baby.
Yeah.
That's better than no phone calls.
Oh yeah. That's where I'm at on the work end. So,
Mhm.
what about yourself? Aside from
Dude.
checks and cards and you know the finances.
Oh, dude, that was it this week, was just doing the homework there. No call. I did get a call yesterday from a friend who's got a couple tiny things, but I kind of don't think she's in a hiring position. So, I might just be helping her out, like just giving her advice and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to next week. Oh, I do need to send on Monday. I'm going to be sending emails. So, I did a short film with Alexa and Mark back in 2017 that I never put out.
Okay. Love it.
And it's about it actually starred Amy. Amy's in it.
Shout out Amy.
Amy. And she's in the other room. And
Eventually people are going to be like, is there really someone in the other room, or they just this is a part of the thing, just go with it, you know?
That's the goal, is to just have everyone think that I don't live with anyone.
I've actually side note done that so many times. Like you'll see if you ever catch me streaming just playing like Xbox or whatever, sometimes I'll just yell like, "What do you want to have for dinner tonight?" And people will just be like, "What?" And then I'll be like, "Oh, I live alone. Don't worry," and just like continue the game. And they're like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
Yeah, dude, George out there with his like little scheming, like little tricks with no end, like literally to no point, only funny for him. Like no one else can.
I mean,
be
that's the
involved.
best, that right? Like, I don't need everyone laughing. I'm not putting on the show.
You're just like you're like stimming. You're like just like fucking doing shit just to do it.
Yeah. It's like when you go to like, a different channel on the walkie on set. You're like every now and then you're like, we need a little lightening up today. And you'll just go like say some random words and go back to your channel. And no one recognizes your voice over walkie if they never hear it. So they're just like,
no, exactly.
You just see across the, like, that meme where it's like the dude's looking behind the tree, like,
yeah.
That's basically me watching like the grips on the other side of the stage being like, yo, who the fuck? Like,
yeah. you say, hey, can I get a blah, 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 blah? And then you hear them all go, you see them all go.
They're ready. Like they're locked and ready, but they're also like, huh?
What?
Just like, that's crazy.
Around.
But the flip side of that though is you get what you start, right? Like you dish it out, you're gonna get it back. Because after a while, by the end of the first month, always there's like the random, just like random sounds on your channel and channel 1. You're like, God, I started.
Yeah. Because one's the easiest one to get to. You don't even have to look at the walk. That's good with the grips. You can just flip it to 16 without even looking.
They usually don't even use 16 for us.
Oh, really? It's always like 1
I feel like
16
I'm butchering it. If I remember this correctly, and I say that because, geez, it's been slow.
Golly, gee, it's been slow.
1's production, right? Like, that's the given.
Yep.
2's private. 3's transpo, typically, right?
Sure.
4 can sometimes be... Between 4 and 5, it's always a mix where, like, 4 might be private. It might be, like, a props separate thing or whatever. But, but really, it's 6, 7, 8. It's like camera, electric grip.
Really?
Yeah.
We do 1. I mean, really, the jobs I'm on are small, so it's usually just 1, 15, and 16.
Got you. Yeah.
And then camera might be on like 3, 4, 5, 6, like somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So if they have enough, but most of the time, camera doesn't even want walkies.
Yeah. Usually we're 1 to 8, and then beyond that's like something specific, or if it's like, let's have the the stunt cars be on their own channel kind of thing.
Yeah.
Special effects. Yeah. Like it's like however it makes sense. Or second unit. I love when there's 2 units at once, and you like come in the morning, and they're like, so production for main units on 1, but you guys are on 16, and that's how then they do it backwards. That way.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it. I get why you'd leave the back end open. But yeah. Oh, but real quick. So the film. Okay, so I did this short film, and we went to Nashville during the eclipse in 2017, and we filmed during the eclipse.
Good timing.
So I'm gonna try to get a little premiere or something for like. We wanted to try to go down to Arkansas or something to shoot something during this eclipse, but that's not gonna happen. So I'm just gonna see if somewhere wants to show it on the eclipse day.
Yeah.
In like a week. So we'll see. Hopefully.
What do you think? Are we back in the era where like TV is kind of just bad?
No. I think we're moving indiscriminately forward. I think that shows like the top tier of things, the voice is getting more refined and everything's getting better. But I think we're in this new era of being over in it. We've never had this many things being produced at once.
Right.
And there are so many things being produced that are just to fill air so that things can be sold in between the air that the movie's on. Like there is still like Pluto and Tubi and shit are funding and buying the stupidest shit just to have channels with things on them. Like I saw there was this movie. Well, I was at my dad's house and I watched this. One of the most poor, it seemed like someone and their child made this movie, and it's like got a contract. It was on Tubi, and it played fucking 10 times a day, and it was on the Western Channel. It was one of 4 movies playing on the Western Channel, and it's like they just made this channel because they could buy this movie really quick. It's like fucking that exists at the same time that like some of the best, most complex stories ever being told are being told right now.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said right there is exactly why ridiculousness exists. It's to keep MTV going.
Yeah, Dude, that dude's a DC shoes man is a fucking cash cow.
Yeah, I mean
Rob
they
Rob
literally
Dyrdek.
like COVID was probably the best time for them. TV was like, everyone go home. They're saying 2 weeks. Just hit the play button to ridiculousness. We'll be back on Monday the 15th.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, to what you're saying though, it's weird because it's like I feel like because there's so much happening right now, and I know last time we kind of talked about it feels like we're shifting to like let's do less as a business model. But while we still have it all going on, like I feel like it's just they're trying to cater to everyone at once with every show. And that's kind of why I'm like
Yeah.
my perspective is it getting bad? Like I was watching the Three Body Problem, for instance, which has been like hyped up on Netflix lately because
I heard about that.
it's the Game of Thrones writers, which is already like, polarizing.
And it's like based on a book, right?
Right. And it's based on a book, which is apparently pretty good. So that was the main reason why I was like, let me give it a shot, right? And like it's a very cool sci-fi kind of topic, but there are just so many little moments and things that it's just like you're writing this scene. I mean, sure, it's probably in the book, but the way that it's being drawn out for camera, it's like you're writing this scene to just give us like, campy friend dialogue or love dialogue. Like this is your version of Breather and it's relatable, right? Because this is what it would be like if we were them. And it's just like I feel like we're overdoing like it's a sci-fi thing. Make it one niche audience. That's it. But it's like they need to make it so profitable now that it's like every scene feels different from the other.
Yeah. It's weird, dude. We're in a weird place that I think is unsustainable. And I'm curious to see what it's like moving forward.
Would you want less content?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think it'd be in order for that to happen, people are gonna have to be on their phones less and like all that shit. Like
just never happening.
People are consuming things. Like people are consuming at that rate. Like the rate has gone like it's chicken or the egg. Like the rate of consumption is going up at the same rate of production. And I don't know where it started. I don't know what's next, but it's fucking crazy now, and something's gonna fall through.
It's just I feel like we're at that moment where it doesn't have to be bad, but it's like the fall before you come back up again. Like it doesn't have to be like detrimental to people. I'm not even talking from a work perspective, but I just feel like we're like if it's doing this weird up and down hill, I feel like people are starting to go down the hill together. Of like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. There's too much, like, because there are a lot of really good indie movies being made right now. Like, I was at the theater like months ago, and I just saw 3 trailers that I was like, dude, this is so fucking cool. Like, 3 trailers back to back where I was like, I'm fucking hyped. I don't remember the names of the movies, and I probably won't see them. But I was like,
but this
makes me want to come back, man, because it got swallowed up. Like, there's no room.
But that's exactly part of it too, which is funny. So like it caught your attention, but see how it's like it also almost kind of escaped your mind with all the other stuff being thrown at you. It's like the design. I don't know how we get out of the TikTok generation in other aspects, like movies. It's being brought into movies because everything's designed like, especially like I should say movies and TV, because Netflix is the perfect example. Like sometimes I wish I just had the mental note to keep a log of how many times did I look at my phone in a 40-minute episode.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy, right?
Like TV is designed now so you aren't watching, but you're helping the profit. It's oh man. Yeah, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with our guests. And we're back with our friend Jeff. What's up, man?
What we doing?
All right, so Jeff is a producer and a director out of New York. I've worked with him for the past few years on some fun little stuff. We did like a Fender job and a Swarovski and Vogue job. And fucking dude, Jeff can do it all. He comes from like super scrappy background, coming with that stuff, but he can also do the big shit, the big boy stuff. Nothing too big, too small for Jeff, baby. And he's also got a new film that's coming out soon, or working its way into festivals right now. How's the festival hunt been going? Has it been exciting or defeating?
Mostly defeating. I think that there's nothing really independent about film festivals anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm slowly learning that if you blindly submit, the chance of you getting in is next to nothing. Like you have to have I think like 60 or so percent of the slots are decided by like sales agents or festival consultants. So yeah, just navigating that. Like I I mean I knew that the festivals had like a bureaucracy, and it's definitely not a meritocracy. It's like you got to really know people to even get the film seen, which is
Yeah.
fine. It's just like I wasn't anticipating that, so now I'm having to do the work after the fact. So we've submitted to like 14 or so festivals, and we're gonna submit to another like 17 once we hear back. So
Okay.
it's just like once you can celebrate once you wrap, and then like kind of the real work starts, which
Nice.
is
Yeah.
the long
You leave the
slog of post
dream.
production. Yeah,
Yep.
and then once you have it in the can, you can celebrate again. But then like the next job presents itself, which is like getting the thing into a festival.
Okay.
Getting it.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and if it doesn't get into a festival, you might as well have never done it in the first place, which is a
I
discouraging
mean, you're not
opinion,
wrong.
but it's just simply true. It's like if a tree falls in the forest. So
Yeah.
if this thing doesn't get into a festival of note, then it will have been a massive waste of energy and time. But so yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm trying to get into a
Yeah,
festival.
yeah. Like
Well,
that's
after the fest, there are other routes. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like also
All right, well,
there's
hold on.
like
Let's
you
take
could take
it
it straight to him.
let's take it all a step back a bit. You want to tell us a little bit about the movie?
Yeah, yeah. What's up?
Yeah, sure. So the film it was always my dream to make a New York centric film, and that's what I made. And
Mhm.
I tell people it's just like the classic format of like a walk and talk, if you're familiar with that, like Before Sunrise or
No, I
When
love
Harry
those.
Met
Yeah.
Sally. And so I tell everyone, like, if you don't like a movie with two people talking, you're gonna fucking hate this film. So that's what it is. And it's it just follows two people walking throughout New York City with a similar goal of retrieving money that they're both owed, and they have intimate conversations, and it's a dark comedy. And then one of them is hiding a harrowing secret, a dark secret. And yeah, we shot it in 7 days. We made it for under 100K, and
Nice. Sorry, what's the name of it again?
it's called Or Something.
Okay.
It stars Kareem, who is kind of like getting pretty big on TikTok and Instagram. He's just like the best dude ever, and he's a comedian, just stand up. He's got a couple very successful shows. And then Mary Neely, and then we got the guy from Dexter, the Lieutenant Angel, the cop. His name is David Zayas,
Nice.
and a couple other like comedians. Brendan Wardell is like a smaller-ish comedian who I thought was really funny. And anyways, yeah, we shot 13 pages a day. We shot it at the coldest days of winter 2 winters ago. Got no permits except for Central Park. Um, so it was very, very much indie filmmaking in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, y'all went fucking hard on that. I remember when you were asking around for crew and stuff. You're like, we're shooting 13 pages a day. We're shooting 6 days straight, or like, what was it? How many days did you say? 7?
Six. So six shooting days with the whole crew. Myself, and the DP Jeff Leeds Cohen, who's arguably one of the in my opinion the best at shooting narrative stuff. He lives in LA. He and I did like a half day of B-roll stuff on day like -1, day 0, and then we had 6 days of shooting, and then on
Yeah.
day 7 we did another like half day, 3/4 of a day of B-roll. And so we just I told like I told everyone. I was like, everyone got paid $500,
Yeah.
including me. Like
Yeah.
everyone across the board, $500. I mean, there's exceptions to that. Like no sound guy is going to accept $500, right?
No,
And
you got to pay your
rightfully
sound
so.
camera.
But like
Yeah.
everyone, like it was like having to ask
Yeah, like
all
you
my
you you
homies.
set the parameters up front at the beginning. Like this is what we are in this sense.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
what we
and
can do. Yeah.
I had a different way of approaching the deal. So I told everyone it's 500 a day, and then if the movie sells, you will retroactively get your day rate for all the days worked, like a feature film day rate. So
Cool.
let's say, the gaffer whom got paid $500. If his day rate on indie features is like 450 a day, I don't know what it is. This is non-union, obviously, but like whatever the reasonable rate is for day rate, we would pay him the difference. And so, and I was very upfront with them. I'm like, the chance of us selling this is probably very slim. And I told everyone, I was like, just read the script. If you don't fuck with it, do not do this. Because you're getting $500 to like do the old school, New York
Grind
City
it out.
indie
Yeah.
filmmaking,
Yeah.
and I was like, no one is doing this for a paycheck, and so no hard feelings if it's not for you. And luckily, we got, it was a lot of my good friends were the department heads, and everyone just absolutely killed it. And was, I think it's special when everyone has read the script and people are into it.
Hmm. There's
Because
something.
I've done. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No,
Sorry.
I was gonna just say there's something different about when it's not just the work. When it's like, hey, we're in on this for the project, for better or worse. Like it's just in a good way. There's something different about that.
It's just a different energy if the script is good. And I can say this about my movie because I didn't write the script, but but um but I just read it and I was like, this is legitimately good, and it's a very sort of basic New York story, but that's the type of shit I like.
Wait,
It's sort of
did I misunderstand that?
like,
You're saying you not write or something?
did not write it, no.
Oh, okay. So
So I was brought on to direct it, and I and there's obviously some pitfalls with just being the director and not having wrote it. But yeah, it was a great opportunity, and um,
How did it? How
I
did it
think
come about? How did
yeah.
it come across your desk?
so one of my really good friends, and I think arguably one of the most in demand DPs, certainly in New York and probably in LA too, Ben Carey, who's phenomenally talented DP and he's done
Phenomenally.
every, like, he's like the guy, like he's like the most in demand commercial guy,
Okay.
Yeah.
and music video guy, and he's um no small part due to the fact that he's like the chillest guy, but he knows a lot of people, he's respected, and Kareem actually called him and was like asking for recommendations. And I
Nice.
think
Yeah.
Ben gave him two recommendations. Kareem and I hit it off, and yeah.
Cool. Sometimes
Fuck
it's all
yeah.
it takes, right? I guess just that little the word of mouth.
Yeah, and I had been I've been producing for like a decade, um, and I had always sort of had the back of my head that I wanted to direct, and I started. I was a little. I think commercial and music video directing is a younger man's game, and I started doing some of that stuff, and I sort of realized like I don't want to make commercials and music videos as a director. Um, I just wanted to make narrative stuff, so it came at the right time, and I'm like so happy to be producing bigger commercials, so I can on this silly dream of directing feature films.
Yeah. You keep them. You put them in little boxes, and you keep them separate, and you have your production like you grind out on this shit, so that you can, and then you have more of a purpose for doing that. It like kind of I've been fine. I've been trying to compartmentalize my life a little bit better too. That
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. Dude.
and you and I talked about it at length. Like, I think, I don't think I know you encounter a decent amount of bitter people on sets. I think, and um, it's because they're get pigeonholed into a particular job and they want to be doing something else. Um,
Or they're just there for
but
the paycheck.
Yeah, which is fine too. I've always like really strived to like never be bitter, even though like my ultimate goal is to direct. So like there was a time when it could have gone that way, but I'm just happy to be producing and making money, so I can do this other thing on the side until it works or it doesn't. But yeah, it's like it's a weird thing. Like I leave them, I keep them as separate as possible. Like no one wants to hear a PA telling everyone on set on a commercial that they want to be an actor. It's like
Yeah.
no director wants to hear a producer who's like I want to direct movies. They're like, oh God, like this again.
Because
It's kind of cringe.
Yeah, because it's good to have. No, I haven't heard someone actually say that. I think outside of like TikTok, so that's why I'm like it's cringe. Um,
It's kind of like a put up or shut up thing, though.
Yeah,
At a
yeah.
certain point, especially if you're like an established person and you start talking about doing something different, it gets this feeling like I don't know. It's like, why am I like I've heard of you for this? Why are we talking? I don't know. It's like it feels weird, and you can feel it when you say stuff. Like when I tell
Yeah.
people that I act on the side too, it's like you can feel it. It's like it
It
doesn't fit with their idea of you.
it almost kind of fits into that bitterness a little bit, whether people mean to or not. Because yeah, it's like why can't you have the big dream of like, yeah, I'm gonna act, I'm gonna do stand up, I'm directing, but it's like so everyone hearing you say you want to do the thing they're not literally seeing you do on set, they're just like, what? Why? So I don't know why we're all like that. I don't know if it's a human thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think I don't have the answer. My guess would be that, especially on music videos and commercials, like you're there to do a job. Um, People are less inclined to hear your hopes and dreams, and like you are hired to do a very particular thing, right? So it's like if you're the gaffer, like you need to be there and be focusing on your job, which is fair. But yeah, I don't know why people get weird about it. I also think that the production world is like kind of gatekeepy, and like everyone wants to just make it seem like their particular job no one else can do. As I think the exact opposite. Like
Yeah.
any one of us could like learn how to be a gaffer, and I don't
Anyone
know
can
how
anyone
like
can learn
we
how
could
to
all be
produce,
DPs. Like
especially
it's
production.
not
Yeah.
like you just
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
pursue it, and you know what I mean. Like so, I came from my first like producing job. I had to like do nearly everything because it was like 10 of us doing action sports shit. So like I was like ACing, camera operating. I was a phantom tech, like the high speed camera.
Yeah.
I teched Cineflexes, which is like shot over now for like aerial cinematography. Like
Mhm.
so, I think people are protective of their particular role. Um,
Yeah.
Just
but yeah,
fair.
maybe that's that part of it. Yeah,
Some pride maybe, or just comfort with what you do.
yeah.
But
So,
so no, go ahead again.
Jeff, how do you get into film? I know you're from DC. I know you didn't you did you go to school for film or anything?
No,
Oh yeah.
I didn't go to film school.
How'd you end up making pictures?
Um, so I got like it was like one of those funny things where I got randomly needed a summer job or summer internship, and um, a family friend of my parents, uh, he used to be a professional soccer player, and then he became an agent, like a agent that represents like soccer players. And so I was like, sure, whatever, internship. And so I got like sort of exposed to the like representation world, and when you don't know that these things exist, like they're just you don't know they exist. And I was like, this is interesting. I was like, I don't really care about ball sports at all. um And so I was like, oh, like I think there's this like same kind of thing exists for like movies, you know? And so the strength of having one of this really random internship one year that was paid, I got I got an internship at an agency, William Morris, or actually interned at Endeavor. Is it interned at ICM and then I got hired at Endeavor, whatever. So
All those
I,
names are crazy.
Yeah, not film at all.
what do you mean?
Well, they
Well,
are film, but they're just like
yeah,
bigger.
yeah,
Like
that's
Endeavor, ICM, and William Morris are all like big agencies.
that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like different
I'm
level.
saying the
Yeah,
soccer thing was not film, but yeah. So I had like this misguided. Once I figured out what that was, I had this misguided like idea as you know a 20-year-old does, 21-year-old does of like, oh, agents are all terrible people. Maybe I can be like the cool version of an agent, and like I love film, and maybe I can just like be the guy who reps like the Spike Joneses and the Michelle Gondrys. And then after a bit of time, I realized um, that theory was incorrect. But you could be that guy, but then you'd still be surrounded by assholes every day. So
yeah,
I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. But and also I was an assistant to a lit agent, and at that time, before like cancel culture and people were getting called out for poor behavior, it was quite literally one of the worst jobs you could ever have. It's like being sold into sex slavery, and then like Hollywood assistant would be like a close second.
Jesus.
And it was just like emotional terrorism. It was awful. But you did get to learn. You know, you were in the middle of all the business end of shit, and so I continued down that road. And then a director that I had found and showed to the agent I worked for, we became friendly, and then he basically like called me out and was like, he called me one day, um, and he's like, "You're fucking miserable," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You hate your job." I'm like, "Yeah." How'd you know?
yeah,
And he was like, "Well," he was like, "You know, come move to Wyoming and produce for me." And I was like, "I don't know how to produce." He's like, "It's fucking easy. I'll tell you how to do it." So that's kind of where my ethos of like, if whatever you want to do in film, you can fucking do it, you know?
yeah,
And he was right.
Definitely
It's like
produce.
it's not easy. It's not easy to like be good at it. It's easy enough to like learn a fucking lingo and learn a budgeting software. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so he paid to have me move to Wyoming, and I was producing a bunch of action sports shit. Like we did Art of Flight was like the big movie. It was like a snowboard film.
Okay.
Travis
Oh,
Rice.
yeah.
So like they had basically they've got put on the map for that, and I like came like kind of
Art
in
of
the
Flight's fucking huge.
yeah. I mean, it's big within the
Yeah,
action sports world. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I think that was like the tentpole thing, but in terms of there's just no money there, and so you could imagine it was like trial by fire. Like if you can produce some action sports shit, you could definitely produce a commercial where you have a budget. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It,
But yeah.
it's funny. Last week we were kind of just talking about how, in a way, somebody, an outside person, kind of comes along in your life and kind of almost steers you the direction. Like the guest we had on was saying,
Mhm.
they were like, "Oh, this is where you're gonna go from your internship. I want you to be in this department," and it led to his career. So it's kind of funny how you're saying something almost a little similar, where this person's like, "You're miserable. Like, let's change this up," and it helps. And it sounds like it kind of steered in the way you were wanting to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was. You're right. You're so right about that. It was like felt serendipitous, but maybe you're subconsciously putting yourself in sort of the right like path, and then someone else comes along and puts you in the right lane, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah,
the
yeah,
You're
fucking
going the right
analogy
direction
may
and
be.
someone's
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
like someone helps you with like your like compass of like what you're trying to accomplish, and that was like and going from like being an agent's assistant to like then being just not being an assistant to somebody was like the like felt like I had won the lottery because it was just
Yeah.
like 14, 15-hour days being an assistant. They will not pay you overtime. Like you could never ask for it, which I
Yeah.
don't think can happen now, right?
I
They
think
like
now
force you.
there's pay, yeah, somehow.
If you're on salary, then they can get away with it. But whatever.
Yeah, but
That's not
this
the
just
point.
anyways, it's like, yeah, and they would force us to do script coverage over the weekend, and it was just like it was wild. It's like 7. I got in at like 7 a.m. and left at 10:30 every night,
Fuck that.
Monday through Friday. And I was getting paid minimum wage, like legit minimum wage.
And you're
Um
doing script coverage on minimum. That's so insane. Where were you? Were you out here or where?
no, this was in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, like again, like you said, like it led to this opportunity, and then yeah, after that, like kind of ran its course, and that the company was called Brain Farm, and that dissolved. I'm still friends with Kurt Morgan, the director and the previous owner of Brain Farm.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I fucking hate LA, I always loved New York,
Yeah.
and I was like, there's actually nothing stopping me from just getting up and moving. And so I didn't have really any like production contacts in New York. So I was just like, well, I'm gonna just go wing it. I have this skill set now, and I slept on my friend's unfinished basement floor in Bushwick for the first 9 months,
Damn.
and that was kind of my limit, Like I was like, ah, shit, like nothing's happening. Like maybe I fucked up here. And then after 9 months, I woke up with a cockroach on my face that was like this big. And I was like, oh man, I got something has to change. And
A
within that
literal
week,
wake up call.
yeah, actually, yeah, it was so big. I was like, no one's gonna believe me. So I woke up my friend. I was like, you got to come look at this fucking cockroach. Um, and within that week, I got like my first sort of like paying freelance producing gig for like a friend of a friend.
There we
And
go.
then yeah, it kind of snowballed from there. And I've been, I've taken permalance jobs at various agencies.
Mm.
Um, I find sitting behind a desk absolutely soul sucking, so I try to avoid that at all costs.
That's why we're all here, right?
But
We'd rather be in a chaotic circus.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that I guess that brings us, and there's a bunch of producing not so memorable, shitty commercials and music videos in between, and now we're here.
Nice. I am curious though, so because LA, New York, we always kind of compare and contrast a little bit the different things. So I'm curious. Now you're somebody who's kind of like, let me go feel out both. I'm I'm
Yeah,
I'm curious of some of the pros and cons you've ultimately experienced in both. Clearly, you're leaning New York.
yeah. I think it came for me. I think it just came down to honestly, like the people, um, and the type of people that LA attracts. And yeah, just it wasn't my city,
I get it.
Without like, I could do a whole podcast on why I dislike LA, but it might be a little alienating.
No,
But yeah, it was
I
just
get
like
it.
little things like like people brunching like 7 days a week in yoga clothing. It's like, does anyone here work? Like, is anyone working?
Yeah.
Like,
And this is
is that
pre-strike. He's talking. This is just
yeah,
the vibe.
Well, also,
yeah,
like, you're there being beaten down by some rich guy representing other rich people, and you're like fucking doing his like laundry and reading scripts on the weekends, and like,
yeah.
and then you see people like God, yeah, that
Brunching
filter has got
at
to be
Jones on
uncomfortable.
Third. Yeah, 7
Yeah.
days a
Oh,
week.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, dude.
yeah. I mean, that place
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will say this:
Yeah.
I fucking hate
It
LA.
makes sense why they go there.
I'll tell you, I will admit this. I hate most things about LA, but the food is, in my opinion, better than New York.
Interesting. So
Ooh.
interesting, because I don't know if you
So
saw before you hopped on here earlier. I was saying to Ian, I'm like, when at least comes to like breakfast, this place sucks in my opinion compared to New York.
well, I listen. I just yeah. I love actual Mexican food, which is very hard to come
Okay.
by in New York. And as a result of most people being so vain, there's much better, more affordable, healthy food in LA.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
That makes sense.
but yeah, I mean, I try to avoid LA at all costs. But I'm
yeah.
happy to go there for like a paying gig, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I like
'Cause
being there
I
when
like working.
everything's paid for. That shit's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's very few places where you would not be inclined to go if everything was paid for, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is true. I mean,
Yeah,
trust me. I mean, I feel like I get it. I mean, I love New York. I grew
but
up Jersey, and then, but I'm just here because I'm like, it
yeah.
made more sense for my lane, I guess.
I mean, I'm also deeply self-loathing, so it's like I think New York is better for me in that sense. You know,
Yeah.
like
You
it
have
would
to
make a
wear.
hell of a
Yeah.
lot more.
No, go ahead.
It would it would make a lot more sense for me to live in LA because I would probably work more. Um, but yeah, that's like maybe that's part of it, just a perpetual um uh the perpetual hustle that is required
Yeah.
to
Well,
exist in New York.
you have to pretend you don't have that loathing here, right? You got to smile as you're next to the person's dog at Jones, and then go to Target, and
And yeah, in New York, everyone's kind of talking about it and coexisting in that sort of pain.
Yeah, they're trauma bonded.
Yeah.
Trauma bros.
Everyone here has the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
trauma, but wants to pretend it doesn't exist. That's how
Uh,
you alienate everyone here in LA. I think it's like it's kind of like
as you
talk.
Yeah.
start talking about,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, why are they actually saying what's on their mind? Don't do that.
dude. So, all right. So you got the film going. What do you have anything else in the fire right now? Anything else? I know work is slow. Do you have anything on your own that you're doing? Any projects? Any shit you're doing to keep yourself busy?
Yeah, I'm writing a feature film right now. Um,
Fuck yeah.
it's proving very challenging. I love the concept. So that's like kind of keeping me going. I've gotten through the first act. And so like I think it's important when it's slow to use that time wisely because as all of us know, like once you're in production mode, there's very little time for anything
Yeah,
else. So I'm just trying to stay positive and you know, use the time in a smart way.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
You want to tell
but
us a little more about it at all? Like, 'cause with or something, you were saying the type of movies you like. You trying to stick with that kind of like talking narrative.
yeah, so I'm gonna keep not that anyone will give a shit anyways, but I'm just gonna keep like the general concept under wraps.
Hmm.
Mostly
Great.
for self-preservation because if it doesn't happen, then everyone will know I totally failed.
Yeah.
But the advice that I got, which it's probably common advice, but it struck a chord with me is write a movie that you want to watch. Like, and this concept, like I want to fucking see this film.
Yeah.
It's like it is bigger than like a walk and talk film, but it is absolutely a movie that I would love to see. And outside of that, so I'm signed to UTA for directing and writing.
Okay.
So I have an agent
Yeah.
there, and I went to LA to like have a meeting with him, and um, we chatted about my film, and you know he basically was like, the point of it was like I developed a few ideas, and I just basically went there and pitched all my ideas to him, and the idea that I'm writing now, he was like over the moon about. So it's nice to have that validation, but that's another reason why I'm pursuing this one versus like a couple of the other ideas I had. He was like, "You
Mm.
got to fucking write that,"
Dude,
which was like felt like validating to hear. Um,
that's so
and
cool.
Yeah.
he was like, also it's just like far fetched, you know, pipe dream shit. But he was like, "Oh yeah, we could get like such and such, like naming like A-list actors,
Such
like
such an agent thing.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, Florence Pugh would be great for the, but like he was excited about it.
Yeah.
And I think, and like I think that's ultimately like, um, I think that's why it's super valuable to have an agent, especially an agency that has like a big talent department,
Mhm.
because you can write a script and be like, oh, well, such and such is perfect for it, but like, how the fuck are you gonna get it in their hands,
Right,
or
right.
even their reps' hands? And so like there is like a very clear pipeline where he can send it to, you know,
He's got direct
and
routes. There are
Yeah.
people that have direct lines to people. It's like
yeah,
Yeah.
realizing people represent soccer. It's like, how do I get a soccer player? You call the guy that knows all the soccer players, you know?
I know a guy.
yeah, yeah, and they definitely know guys and women. But so yeah, that's another thing that's like keeping me motivated, and I am thankful that I like, if nothing else, it's a really good thing that has come out of directing this movie, is having like an agent at a larger agency that has
Yeah.
access to some of these actors. So it makes this like silly pipe dream that I have a little bit more tangible in a way, I think.
Mhm.
I'd
I
say
mean,
you've got your hands like almost, you've got at least your fingertips on the dream right now. If you're
yeah,
fucking, if
yeah,
you've got a foot in the door at UTA, dude, that's fucking
yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah,
more
and I
than,
think it's mine to fuck up. So there's a lot of anxiety that surrounds that. I'm just trying to get past it. I think the hardest part is like
Just doing it.
getting just doing it, which is like the least helpful comment, you know? 'Cause
But
it's like
yeah.
how do you do it? But like you just have to fucking do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It comes down to that because like beneath that is all you're just like, it comes down to each day. It's like, are you doing it? Did you do it yesterday? And it's like, will you do it tomorrow? And it's like, are you doing it now? And it's like, however, you just make yourself get to these things. And that's the biggest part about slow time is like doing the fucking checking your oil and doing the maintenance to make sure your shit starts up when you want it to, and make sure that you can do the things, you have the like willpower and the effort to do things you want to do when you are able to do them. Because when you get busy, it's like your time's not yours anymore. And like if you're just busy all the time, that's how you become that bitter person on set that's mad for no reason or complains about the lunch when it's fine. It's like you don't have control over your days and your life, or you're not doing things for yourself. So that's the one blessing of like slow times, is you get to sort out what you're doing for yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also have learned in the last couple months that um I had like serious like writer's block, and I was just like stuck. And I think it's also okay to just like put it down for a minute. Um and in doing that, uh like I read it again after not having read it for like a month or so, and it got me excited again. I was like, oh, maybe this isn't complete garbage.
Yep.
And so I was
sometimes,
like,
yeah,
oh,
it's just that attachment, right? Like for all things in a way. It's like if you allow yourself to stop thinking the old way for a split second, it changes everything.
yeah. And I also like, I've been started working with somebody, a writing partner. And I think that's another thing that's important. Writing features is a very isolating, very singular sort of pursuit. Like I've never done any sort of TV, but like the idea of being in a writer's room is so cool to me. Like I feel like that's probably
Yeah.
an environment where I do really well. So
You love the
it's
collaborative process, don't you?
yeah, yeah, totally. And so just finding even more so like an accountability partner, like somebody who sees the vision, and we have like a standing. I didn't want to like push it too hard, so I was like, we have like a standing meeting once a week.
Mhm.
He has a kid. He's another kid's on the way. I was like, listen, this
Damn.
should always be fun. And then we should just meet once a week, and we can go our separate ways during the week, and work on it and then come back to it. Um, but yeah, I feel like I've found like a sort of a new rhythm with it, and after even just talking to somebody else who has a similar pursuit to you, I think can sort of like dislodge the writer's block. If it's the right person and you vibe with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like the hardest part with writer's block, I don't write much, but I've written enough, like I've done enough stuff to know like what it feels like to get blocked up. And
Yeah.
like I feel like the only answer is getting outside yourself, like that
Yeah.
space, or like being able to talk about the simple fact that it sucks to be stuck. And like that shit
Yeah.
is what loosens you up.
Yeah.
Did you this is like very broy, but have you heard of that book that Rick Rubin did about the creative process?
I did. I bought it. My girlfriend shamed me for it. So actually don't know where it is right now, but
I listened
she's a
to it. Yeah.
yeah. By the way, I should ignore her shame because I know there's good advice in there, and he's like the more palatable of like people who give you sort of like self-helpy advice, but I think
Yeah.
he probably has great things to say. But my girlfriend's also like an actual writer. Like she doesn't like fiddle around with scripts, you know. Like
Yeah.
she like got her MFA like and like she writes nonfiction and like
Nice.
you know it's funny. I'm always nervous to show her my progress on my script because I'm like I know you think
I would be
this is
too.
for like kindergartners, you know, like she's writing real shit. I'm
Yeah,
like here like
but would you watch this?
and like there's the two leads are women in the script I'm writing,
Mhm.
and so she's actually a good resource and it has been instrumental. And she actually I finally showed her the first act and she she was like, oh, it's way better than I expected.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
Dude,
she
good
also told me
job.
she also told
Dude, let's
me
get
that
drinks. Congrats.
right. She also told me that I like did pretty well with like nailing the voices of these two lead females, which was a huge compliment because I was like, oh God, like, you know, white male trying to like write two cool female leads is always a challenging.
Yeah.
But she'll be. I think it's also like just surrounding yourself with other creative people, and she'll keep me honest, and she'll probably help me develop the voices of these female leads. You know.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'd be surprised if she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you got a pretty good support team all around you there. You got like all the pieces coming together each day.
Yeah, man, it's been a long slog because I was just cripplingly depressed and alone for a long time. So it's a new thing to have some support,
Yeah.
but the support thing helps for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having
Um,
someone to fucking just talk about, I don't know, just fucking, yeah. It's good
anything.
to have someone, yeah.
I mean anything, but especially even just little pieces of this project. Like, yeah, just even the like how does it, questions you're gonna ask your girlfriend about how does it sound from the perspective of these characters. Just that little bit makes all the difference. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I commend the writer who can lock themselves away and just like crank on a script, and I could never do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like such an isolating pursuit.
Yeah.
I need the feedback, but I think it's not like I'm sharing pages every day. I think it's important. I what I say with like sharing writing is like get a really really solid first act or what you assume is a solid first act, and then share that, and then at least you can know like if you're on the right track. You
Hmm.
can self correct. You know, I think then after which you should go away and write the rest of it. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to share anything um, until it's done. Now, you just need to check in. You need to like do a temperature check, make
Yeah.
sure you're like going the right direction, and the first act is engaging enough that people are like encouraging or like, oh, I actually want to know what's going to happen in Act 2 and Act 3. 'Cause if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't have that, then you might as well just scrap it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like development and the writing process is filled with these like little plateaus where you like climb this mountain and then you hit this big flat spot and you're like, damn, which fucking direction do I go? And
Yeah.
that's always the point to like ask and get notes and stuff. Like when
Yeah,
you've
totally.
climbed as high as you fucking can for this period of time, that's when you reach out, and then you gotta, then you're climbing alone again.
Yeah, and it's also, I think it's really important to ask the right people,
Yeah,
Th-
that's the other
they're
part.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, just like, people whom you trust their opinion and have good taste.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
You don't need every friend's
um,
opinion. Yeah.
And people that are
yeah,
gonna tell you shit the right way. Like there's like, there's ways to be negative in a way that's like able to be processed and chewed up and built upon, but there's also ways to be negative that make you not want to keep working.
yeah. I mean, I think it's also like you can delude yourself and just give it to your friends that will just be yes men and like encouraging, but I'm giving it to people that I know will be completely honest, and I tell them like be brutally honest,
Yeah. Like,
because otherwise
yeah.
it's just not. Then you're just doing it to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. I'm not looking for praise. I'm looking for criticism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself like is there a certain routine you like to try to do when you write? Like, like, oh, let me get my coffee, or I like to go to this place.
Um, I'm still figuring out what would be most effective.
Mm.
Um, the answer is no. I don't have a routine. But like the other day, I thought to myself, well, maybe I should go to the New York Library.
Yeah, I think about libraries all the time and I never fucking make it. I never go. I'm
Yeah,
always
I mean,
searching for routines.
I think I think getting yourself in the right mindset. Like I think it's like figuring out what works best for you. Like I'm
Mm.
definitely like first thing in the morning type of person. Some people only prefer to do it like in the middle of the night. Um, but yeah, it's I get like all the distracting shit out of the way and then try to sit and just crank it out.
Nice. Yeah.
But I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't have a writing practice that I'm really that like.
But I mean, that's also why you're the right person, right? Like everyone has their own thing. Like there's no
Yeah,
set example. We all aren't what Stephen King locking himself in hotels.
that's right. His book on writing is really good. I've actually never read a Stephen King novel, but I read the book about him writing all his. I've seen plenty of his movies,
Yeah, but I mean that's how they
but
all
but
started.
also, yeah, I mean, listen, I actually I've started reading a lot more novels, which I think we can get kind of locked into like, oh, well, I want to make movies, so like I'm only gonna consume movies. I've like in the last couple months I've read like 7 or 8 novels and all different genres, and I think that can help too.
Mm.
Um, just like there's just like it's been done for so long, and there's so many good fucking novels out there, and they can be a huge source of inspiration. And
Yeah.
part of it is me trying to convince my girlfriend that I'm not a complete fucking idiot, and I have at least some semblance of like intellect, you
Yeah.
know.
Because books are like I mean, like you're trying to write a movie, you're trying to write a story,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like reading stories with nothing else to it. Like the way that people paint images with words and like get it to pop up in your head is something that like it's
Yeah.
like home. Like I
It's an
mean, if
art,
you want to
man.
write, it's like homework. It's like studying the greats. It fucking makes sense, dude. Fucking
Yeah,
7 books in 2 months, man. You've been cranking, dog.
been cranking through
You're
them.
trying to get your masters.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make up for all the lost time because I was like one of those dickhead kids who was like, "Fuck books."
Yeah.
Um,
If I gotta read
my
Gatsby
father's
one more time,
well, my father is a writer, and he was always trying to get me into like reading novels, and he almost gave up on me, and then he was like, you know what, my son's a teenager. I have the ace up my sleeve, so he appeared in my bedroom one weekday evening and was like, "Hey, I got a book for you," and he gave me his copy of Fear and Loathing. And he's like,
nice,
if my idiot son can't get excited about this book, I don't know what to do.
nice. Okay.
It's
And
a
so
good
it totally worked. He pandered to me, like that first. I'll never forget reading that description of all the drugs that they had in their trunk. And so it worked, you know.
Yeah.
If you want your kid to be smart, give him a copy of Fear and Loathing, which by the way is like not even close to his best novel.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like you have a
yeah.
preference there.
Oh yeah, I mean I prefer his first one, the Rum Diaries, because it's like before he got all like wacky gonzo,
Yeah.
and it's just like more him, which is cool. You know, he definitely has his own style, but I love seeing people's their first work, you know.
Just crack at it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. The movie was mediocre, but
Yeah.
the novel is great.
Yeah.
I've only ever read the Hell's Angels one.
Oh yeah, it's great.
That shit rips.
Yeah.
But the other thing and the other cheat code, because I'm terribly ADHD and dyslexic, and I'm a slow reader. Short story, like collections of short stories.
Mhm.
I love that
And that
shit.
I've been like cranking out those because those are easy, and the ability for some of these authors to like pack such a massive story into
Such
a
a
short
small,
story
yeah,
is
yeah.
really impressive.
Like
But
a
like, oh yeah,
massive.
this is one that has been, I'm getting through it. But this dude Kotazar, that's how you pronounce it. But just so fucking inventive. Like he's like doing like Michel Gondry-esque shit in like 4 pages. You know?
Dude, that's
Crazy.
so
It's
cool. Like,
crazy.
because writing movies, you're always packing things into like a tiny packet. Like you're trying to get like a fucking epic tale in like 90 to 120 pages. So like reading fucking short stories has got to be so enlightening for the structure and like what's important, what comes when, how do you reveal certain things about certain people and stuff.
Before we'll let you get out of here in a sec, Jeff. And anything else you want to share, or where we can look into more about anything you worked on?
So producing reel is my production company is called Deep Cut Films. So it's just deepcutfilms.xyz.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm just like, everyone's like, "Oh, when can we see your movie?" I'm like, "Fuck if I know." Like you might never see it. You know what I mean? Like who knows? But yeah, I will. I mean, I hope to have it get into festivals. But yeah, man. It was great talking to both of you guys. Do you guys have any other questions for me or?
Nothing right
No,
now,
man.
dude. We'll let you go. I do want to say though, if the festivals don't work out, just find an agent, find a fucking sales agent that'll take you on for nothing up front. Because that shit, you made a feature and it's
Yeah.
good, and there's people talking, and it's of a place and time. It's got, there's worse shit literally on TV. Before you got on, we were talking about how Tubi and Pluto and shit like that, they have these stations that are like, they have channels dedicated to Western films, and they're putting up like student fucking films. Like, there's somewhere for this shit,
Just
I would
yeah.
hope so.
The dream doesn't stop. You started, but that goes for
Yeah.
all of
All
us.
right.
But
Well.
you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I also the reality is that they often say that the second film is harder to make than the first. So my
I just
journey has just begun.
yeah.
All right, well,
Boots on the
yeah.
ground, baby.
Well, next time we talk to you, then we'll hear how that turned out.
All right.
Cool.
Deal.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Awesome, guys.
And we're here with Connie for Little Connie's Corner. What's up, man?
Big Connie now, Big Connie, because
Big Connie's corner.
Oh man.
Dude, we're here with Connie, and we're here for some Big Connie's corner.
yeah, I've got the Derrick Henry shirt on. I'm feeling like Derrick,
Yeah. What's up,
Tough
man?
guy,
Gotta
baby.
say, I was watching most of your guys' friend Jeff. That guy's the man, dude. That guy's the man. That
Yeah,
guy's
he's
the
a
man.
fucking straight shooter too.
Yeah, definitely interested in checking out that that movie when it comes out, man. That will be as soon as I hear that's available.
Yeah. No,
Sounds like right up my alley. Respect.
yeah. We'll keep an eye on it. You know what I mean? Like, We'll all know when things come along. We'll go check it out. Let's get down to it. So last week you told us we should watch Coherence.
Coherence, man. And I had kind of thought of it last minute. I was like, yeah, nah. But I thought, let's go for a proper mind fuck. We haven't really,
Love me a good
went
mind
that.
fuck.
First thing I realized after watching for like the first 10 minutes was like, oh, I've seen this movie before. But actually, I watched like the first 10 minutes of it, I guess previously a couple years ago. And the beginning of just like the dinner party chatter and all the voices, I guess it kind of turned me away. I turned it off.
Yeah,
But this time around, since I knew I was watching it, I actually thought of it as a positive. I wanted to ask both George and Ian as film guys. I know we just previously had the sound people on recently, but what I thought that was unique in just all the chatter going on at the same time, a bunch of different people talking and how to layer it
Yeah.
and how they actually kind of made it work.
Well, what's weird, in my opinion, is weird in a good way. When I first started the movie, I'm like, this movie kind of sucks because of the specific thing you just said. Like the feeling of like the way it's just being strung together, their chatter. But then you start to realize, you're like, wait, does this suck because it's like pretty like organic? Like it's like,
Yes.
and it's like, or it's like, it's what we know. This is exactly how I would picture this age group of the people I have in mind. Like this is more or less that conversation happening when I'm the wallflower listening to them. And like I started whenever I had that kick in the first like 10 minutes or so, I was like, oh, I just gotta like block out my own shit because it's like this is actually working for this.
Yeah,
dude. I realized too when I started it, I was like, oh, I've watched part of this over Amy's shoulder. Amy, I had not watched any of it, but Amy watched it as research for a project that she was writing, and my initial thought is like, dude, this is lit poorly. The actors don't no one really looks like an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then you get past the fucking lighting, and the lighting's really consistent. Everyone's exposed. They cut to another scene. The lighting's the same, like general vibe, and then it like everything stays consistent. But in that what I did, like even though the lighting and the general shooting like kind of put me out, the fucking way that they were speaking and the way that they were getting to points and revealing things, like in that first few moments and how natural it was, I was like, this is keeping me here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have had trouble sitting through it if it wasn't so natural and good. The fact that it wasn't lit well is like almost like helps with how natural it is and how you don't expect something big to come. But when they move to that dinner table and the lead blonde woman like keeps trying to bring things up and everyone just sort of laughs her off and like I was like, dude, something's coming. I knew nothing about this movie going into it either. So I was like,
she's like, hey guys, isn't it weird that there's like a celestial event happening right now? And like,
they're like, they're like, yeah, like fish in a pond, like, or like fucking what?
Like the whole space and time thing. I feel like it's getting like all like mashed up.
But see,
like,
it's crazy. Because like the three of us see something like that and you're a little like, huh? But like also think about it for a second. Like if any of us were to be like tomorrow meeting up with friends, rap party, apartment, whatever, someone in the group is that person who just talks about that type of shit. And you kind of cast out the thought. And that's exactly the point of that scene, is just to be like this fucking person.
That's how you handle it.
And then midway through the dinner party, the news comes on. It goes, Jeffrey Epstein arrested. Like, and the guy's like, I told you, like, guys, this is what I was saying. Like, look, all our phones are exploding, and there's a bunch of us.
Oh man, there's no Epstein in the movie, but
it's like it's the news drop that everyone's been talking about. It's like the hard truth. I get it. I get.
I get it. I just wanted to put it out there for anyone who hasn't seen it.
or more like just like the conspiracy thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm texting my brother. He knows astrophysicists.
Yeah,
like he says like something might be happening. It's like, oh yeah, sure, bro, have another one.
And keep in mind, this movie came out in 2013, right? So it's like that's like the Instagram's just starting, but it's enough to be still relatable to what the like vibe is. All we've done is an escalated version of that now.
Yeah, But dude, I loved like. Do you remember like? God, I fucking loved it, and my favorite parts were when things repeated, like little moments repeated, like when the blonde woman's back in the kitchen, and then like the little same conversation happens with the same layering of the voices where they're like,
Ugh.
yeah, it's like it's got a little ketamine in it, and then it's like happens for the second time, and you're like,
Wait,
wait, what the fuck is going on? Like, wait,
Yeah.
what is it? Like, did we go back and like what's going on? And then it continues different from there. And God, that shit blew my. I think it was so well put together.
So yeah. So first of all, the lighting and all this stuff. It's perfect that you're bringing that up, Ian, because I forget, but it's like insanely low. The budget's like nothing for this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
They shot it in 5 days at night, always shooting it at night. Primarily that house and around it, wherever.
Yeah.
And then the reason that we're so fixed on the dialogue, the whole movie's improvised.
The whole that gives that energy. Wait, the whole movie's improvised.
They
Like,
had
they
there's
had
no
points to
actual
hit.
script. They had points to hit for like a general idea, like however whatever it was, to the extent of like, the comet's coming and this and that, almost like we're playing like a drunk game. And every single day the actors would be given individual notes or things they wanted them to say, like kind of like whose line is it anyway, but they were all told individually different things, which is why it's like that's why it's happening the way it's happening. They're all kind of told to do this chatter, but someone's got to bring this up. Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it turns into like things like the two guys fighting over the girl. And it's like they're just being told basically like he's going to confront you. You have this secret versus like you didn't know this, or he's going to tell you something today. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then everyone has to like be a part of that.
That's so fun and cool. I love that so much more now. Like, because I was like, how did they write this to be this well improv? Because like,
Yeah.
when anything is written, it like kind of pulls away from the ability, from the depth at which you can make something feel natural. If there are specific words you have to hit, and like the obvious limitations with money made it seem like it couldn't be. God, it being improv is so crazy.
Yeah.
They're all really good.
Like it makes me respect it even more just because it's like, oh, you were like, let's completely try this at no budget and show we could still tell a story.
So
So,
cool.
with the whole like sound thing and the dialogue, especially early on in the movie, I feel like it's kind of weird because, it's definitely a positive that it was so natural. But now I'm sort of thinking, like maybe it has a lot to do with like some sound work. Like a lot of these things where, people were talking over each other,
Mm-hmm.
but then you pulled like one specific thing and
Oh,
blurred some
yeah.
things out. Because what I wanted to ask you guys, and I would encourage you to, with this in your mind, go look at like some of the early dialogue again, because as natural as it was, did anybody else get like a video game dialogue type of
Yeah, a little
feeling
bit.
out of this? Like
Like that
very
it's
much, it felt
the
like a
NPCs when you
video,
walk
like
in
a
at the beginning before like you as like the lead girl, I guess. It's like, you're about to go off on your quest, but here's this kind of like, hello, fake hug, cuts
yeah.
here, cuts there. I
Yeah.
I'm picturing what my version of video game, I guess, but I know what you're saying.
Like horror
Like
movie
like
setup. It
people are
feels like
people are talking at the same time and interrupting each other, yet like all the speech bubbles seem to be kind of like pasted on. Like you know what I mean?
Ah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're
Even
saying.
though like the only actual like narrative video game I've ever played and actually didn't play, I just watched my nephew play, was Detroit Become Human. So I don't have like a big reference base for what video, but like when I
Yeah.
see video games like this, that, like story building, I'm like, the sounds kind of sound like it.
Yeah.
that's a
Dude.
good fucking call, because that's
Yeah.
the exact vibe, and that was like the intention of it was to like. I think it seems very
Like
intentional.
Yeah.
like in a good way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, like
But the
but
approach, which is why it's cool. Like,
it had its own little thing
yeah.
going on.
And I'm almost willing
it's
to
like-
bet if we looked it up, they probably shot it more or less, if not completely, in chronological order. Because it's like the way that they're doing that overlapping and it's kind of stiff when it's like, welcome to the party versus like halfway in the movie, you could tell like, oh, they've been around each other 3 nights now. Like,
Starts breaking down. Yeah.
One last note for the beginning part is they make It serves to make the things they're talking about in the beginning and the lives they're leading seem so small whenever they realize what's going on. I think that was the cool part, and that's
Hmm.
what I like about that beginning that's kinda hard to get
Mm-hmm.
through, is
Yeah.
because it feels so small, like, that's why it's hard
Yeah.
to get through, is because it's so small and stupid.
Yeah. And I mean,
I
you
never
can.
thought of it like that.
No, go ahead. My bad.
Like I never thought of it like that. Like they're in the beginning, they're kind of emphasizing like, oh, you're like nothing. Like, oh, I was like gonna do the biggest ballet performance in the world. Like, oh, but actually you just did nothing though, right? And
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a famous Hollywood actor. And like, what
Yeah.
show are you on? Like, I watched that show and I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Like,
And
oh, good
now.
point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's very yeah.
And now that
Foreshadowing.
we're looking at it from the improv perspective too, you can tell the entire first day of shooting was probably you didn't know his ex-girlfriend's coming, and then they told the ex-girlfriend basically like you think all these people are like low-key kind of a joke.
Yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
that's
dude.
clearly what the whole thing's run with. It's like those were the two beats, and everyone else was told you pretty much have to play up a little bit about what you've been up to in life because it's good to see your friend at the dinner party.
Yeah.
And that's all it needed to like. I bet you they like came up with shit as they were doing, like as they were filming those scenes. They're like, this is how we got to lead them now to be like, here we go.
Dude,
If I was there, it'd be different because I would be like, yeah, I'm on the Real Dopes podcast. Ever heard of it, dumbass?
and then and then
And then
they'd
every
go back in time and be like, "Wait," and then your guy wouldn't say that in the other house, and then the other guy would have the red glow sticks.
Oh
yeah,
man,
something like that.
we're like one line away from alternate Connie basically being like a Chappelle show skit or like Rick and Morty, just like every house.
It is funny you say Rick and Morty because all I kept thinking of, and I am jumping crazy ahead, but remember at the end when they're all realized like, oh, we all put this item in the box,
Mm-hmm.
and then they keep going through and literally like everybody has a different item, so they realize like, yo, like not only are we mixed up, like not one of us, we're all from different realities from this day. All I kept thinking of was when every item came out, just oh geez, Rick,
Yeah.
just straight,
Oh, jeez,
yeah. That's
Rick,
not
we're
my
in the wrong
Morty. That's not
place.
my Rick.
we got
That's not my
we got to number them, Morty.
yeah. We got a different Jerry over here, and it's just like, bro, it's all
Oh,
jumbled up.
Jerry's
Oh
either
geez, Rick.
the actor or the husband, right? Let's be real.
Yeah.
But I did like that though. I like how like they kind of established just random items to say to make you think about it. But what I like that they did that a lot of movies don't do when they establish like the idea of like multiple universes, you know, like triangle, square, circle. You'll hear them always say triangle, square, circle. But then they're
Okay.
in the middle of the argument and they're like, "Well, what'd you put in your box then?" After trying to tell him he's not real. He's like, "It was the stapler," which they'd never said before. And I was like, "Thank you. Just add one more. It's all the same. Like it doesn't matter. Like that's not the part we need to hold on to."
Yeah. The detail, those other details. It's like, yeah, what is the thing that would separate you from us? Yeah.
Yeah. But
They had a stapler.
stapler.
Fucking
That's
cool
stapler.
movie, and it's cool that like that goes into what we were talking with Jeff about of just like fucking fucking 5-6 days make something that like can hold water forever. Like that movie's gonna be watched for a long time. Like
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, there's
and
massive discussions about it, like, because I went to go Google first, just to learn. But then I start, you get down the rabbit hole of like whether it's people who actually chat on IMDb, which also, what the hell? But then, or Reddit or whatever. It's like there's full on discussions, people trying to dissect. Like, there's an actual like long ass like Google Doc meets YouTube video where someone's breaking down for a long time, like every version and variation of a person in the worlds.
yeah, I
whoa.
pulled that up on my phone actually. We're probably looking at the same, but I didn't even look at it because I
Nah,
was just like,
yeah,
it doesn't even matter, which is
yeah.
kind of the point, I feel like,
Yeah,
you know?
and that's part of why I haven't brought up the ending because I think it's cool that we're just kind of discussing the way they made it. Because the reality is, it's one of those movies where it's like you're each gonna have your different interpretation, right? When there's multiple universes, it's like logic goes out the window. But it's cool, like the journey is in a direction where it's like it's not supposed to have a definitive answer anywhere along the way, which is cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, George, you were saying they made it for like super cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so just it's especially impressive because they do have this like very high concept, like sci-fi movie going on. But it's like, yeah, but they didn't really do anything other than film the same people, but tell you they're different people. Like they
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
there was nothing.
yeah. They
So
managed to
it's
successfully
pretty impressive.
portray, yeah, like a sci-fi thriller, almost in the same type of like what's gonna happen drive as something like almost like a paranormal activity in a way with that like Blair
Sure.
Witchy style. But in the end, it's like it really has nothing to do with sci-fi at all, really. Like it's like as if you just read the word like time travel, for instance, and you're like, that's it. But it's
Yeah,
like it's really just a bunch of friends at a dinner party and they sold us. Like it,
It's a theoretical thriller.
yeah, yeah.
Just like
Final thoughts here on this movie. Connor, you start us out.
What do we got? One thing that I loved was like when they realized the internet's out and they're like, "Oh, is space and time combusting?" They go, "Oh, does anyone?" This is a direct quote. They say, "Do you have any books?" Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Why do I
They
feel like I
literally
do?
Yeah, and they're like,
like, "Yo, you got
oh,
like
how
a
do
book on astrophysics? Maybe we could figure out the meaning of life real quick." Like,
yeah.
well, let's
Actually,
They're like,
yeah.
hey,
try to cram this.
they're like, yo, the endless source of knowledge is not working. Do you have a book?
Yeah,
Might,
like
do you have a book?
let's look up like how the like everything works real quick
And
so we
then
can maybe
that is the one extremely convenient. The way they worked it being in the car and they have to go get it, that bought
yeah
it back. But the fact that the book that just happened to be a gift,
yeah
uh,
legitimately said, do you
that's
have
the
any
answers.
books on this?
Yeah.
um
But final thoughts.
Also,
What would you say about this movie, and what would you rate it?
Me?
Oh no, Connie first.
Connie first.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stick with my 8.8. I'm putting it right on the level with City of God. Again, I like to always look at something for what it is, just what they're trying to do, what they're even like George was talking about the low budget, like just
Yeah.
I like to rate things for what it is. So to me, I'm like, for what it is, it's basically a masterpiece.
Yep.
All right.
Dude, angling on that same for what this is and for like as like viewing the filmmakers as like peers, I'd say like fucking 10. Like 10 out of 10 for like
10 out
what
of
you could
10. 10 out of 10.
because dude, like if any of my friends that are inclined to make stories like this told me they were going to do this, I would like quietly laugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The shit and it fucking worked. They did it. And it's like fully thought out, fully thorough, like it works.
Yeah.
What about you, Georgie?
I'm somewhere in the 8 to 8.5 range, I think. Can't really decide where I'm leaning here. I want to say 8.5, but I almost want to say 8 if I take out bias. Like I don't want to go too high because a lot of it is my like this is awesome how they made it. If I try to just take it
Yeah.
in clean slate, I'm somewhere in there. And if we're looking at it from just that perspective, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was an awesome take on it. I just wish Act 3 didn't become like, oh shit, how are we supposed to wrap this movie up? Let's make it a little more of like
Yep.
your quick thriller. It kind of felt like it
Yeah.
ended in minutes after build up. If they could tweak that just a little, I'd be good, but it's still definitely worth a watch.
Just to extend this conversation, I like that that's how it ended because it
I
starts
kind
with
of, me
her.
too. Yeah.
It starts with her, and it starts with like this movie is like it begins on her journey, and like we begin with her flaw of not making decisions, and her flaw of not making decisions has lost her massive opportunities. She's essentially like no one because of the mistakes she's made, and now she's missing an opportunity to go do something else because all that weight, and now she's using that to motivate herself to go leave and like better herself, and she makes a dumb fucking choice,
Yeah.
and she
Yeah.
ends up in a world where she didn't get rid of the one of her,
Yeah.
and then now there's two of her in this fucking world and she has no place at all. Like, god damn, I love that
Yeah.
because she seems like the one redeemable one in that house. She leaves that house, it's like, oh, thank God, get out of there. Those guys are fucked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she goes and does the same shit.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's no surprise to me. I am my own worst enemy.
karaoke song #1, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Um,
All right, so
but
that's hold up.
also,
Wait, what's up?
before we let me ask you, George. So at the very beginning, like when the dude with the brother, bald dude with the beard, like comes in and kind of breaks to them for the first time, like, yo, I like it's us at the house next door. Like, just everything else aside, George, are you like, yo, I need to get out of the house and go see them, or are you bunkering down and being like, I'm staying away from all this? What's your initial reaction?
Like what I would do if that's me in the situation?
Do you have to go see it next door?
Uh, I don't think so. I'd be curious, but I don't think anything would drive me to just immediately be like, we got to rush over there unless someone
Yeah.
brought up something. Like, I understand the curiosity. Like, I don't know, maybe I might be convinced if it's like we're all going as a group. But what I don't understand for them is they did things like, all right, we went, shit was weird. I'm going back. It's like, oh, whoa. Why is anyone going back at this point? Now we can all just
Yeah.
stay here. Like,
That was the one thing. I was like, dude, just fucking lock up. I would have locked up. I would have just stayed there.
I'm out.
I would have
Yeah.
been like, I am forgetting that is going on.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm gonna be like, I'm just gonna pretend that that's not even real.
yeah,
Like,
I
we'll
would.
just fuck around. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I would 100% be the person who at least take a couple steps outside. Like, oh, the whole block's out, but I don't. My just personal initial, no one tells me what to do reaction is just like nothing would make me be like, hey, they're the one house with the lights. I'll be back. It's like, well, what are they gonna do? Turn my power on?
I'm basically, as soon as I see this is going down, I'm gonna walk to the nearest like chain restaurant, like a Chili's, and I'm gonna get like a ice cold Coca-Cola, and I'm just gonna live in the sterile, corporate simulation forever.
But I guess, that's
You know,
that's the
like
catch of
like
this movie, though, right?
like Ralph Cifaretto from The Matrix. I'm like, just put me back in, dude. Like,
Yeah.
chill with that.
Hey,
Not
you're
trying
eating
to.
steak like.
Yeah, just
Oh,
don't even show me. Oh, there's
like
there's
steak.
an infinite number of you. Yeah, nah.
oh man.
To take me, walk my fat ass down to the Chili's and leave me there forever. You fucking walk out of there and like, it turns out your fucking mom married your brother. Like, it's weird shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
God
oh,
damn.
oh, great.
Oh, great.
Oh, great. There's an infinite number of versions of me. Awesome.
Oh,
Turns out I
jeez.
drive a different car now.
Fucking
Oh.
bullshit.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's how I'm seeing it.
All right. So that's Coherence.
My wife.
Moving on here. All right. What do you got for us to watch for next week?
So, and maybe I need to take a little bit more ownership here, but I'd like to, like last time, I'd like to give you two options. Can we do that?
Drum roll, please.
So,
Wait.
I was thinking either, The Farewell, which is 2019. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
No, I've heard the name The Farewell, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, so a headstrong Chinese American woman returns to China where her beloved grandma is given a terminal diagnosis. She struggles with her family's decisions to keep grandma in the dark about her own illness.
Oh, is this with Aquafina?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
I've seen,
I
dude,
don't
this
know.
movie rips. We should watch. I would love to watch this again.
Okay. Oh, you've seen it already.
I love it though.
Lame.
I
No, because you said it.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next one?
And the other one, the 2009 smash hit Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. Has anybody heard of this?
I haven't seen that, but I want to see
Okay.
it.
So it's crooked cop story, I believe. Nicolas Cage. There's not a lot of, despite the
His
all
face on the cover is so
Yeah,
funny.
I'm looking at it.
despite all the Louisiana tax breaks to film, there's not a lot of New Orleans narratives. Has anybody ever seen The Big Easy? It is one of the worst movies ever, and it's supposed to be like a New Orleans picture. I saw it not too long ago, and I was like, this sucks.
Oh God,
Um,
Dennis
George.
Quaid.
What's
Final
up?
pick: Farewell or Bad Lieutenant?
No, I mean, one's coming for a joke, one's legit, right? So what are we leaning towards? Farewell, I mean, again, reviews are bullshit, right? But Farewell is always apparently all solid reviews. The other one's like, I'm high.
Yeah, I want to watch Farewell, and
Okay.
since Ian he said he'll watch it again. I imagine you watched it when it first came out, so somehow that's
Yeah.
like 5 years ago now. So
Yeah.
All right.
that's okay.
I guess I might have seen it in theaters.
Okay.
Wow.
Because
Wow. You went to the
I
theater?
5 years old.
actually I shot BTS on a little show web series that Aquafina did back in like 2014. So me and Aquafina are pretty much friends, even though I haven't seen her in person since I was doing BTS. But she's asked about me before. So
Slay. Total slay.
I
I don't
mean,
even really. I know what it. I don't know what she is. That a rapper? I don't know who that is, but
she did a YouTube
I know
joke
of her.
video.
is that her and Nora from Queens?
Yeah, it's her. That's her show. Her
like
name's Nora.
Is she a meme?
What?
She's got some memes, I think.
Yeah.
I'd like to be a meme, but
I mean, one day.
I'm in. Sounds good to me. Wait, so is the movie in English?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of it.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it looks. Yeah.
When I saw, I thought it was a foreign film, but
No, it's
even better,
definitely
no subtitles.
yeah. There are parts with subtitles, but it's about it's the story of
Okay.
like a East Asian person from New York going to
Yeah. And it's 824. Go
elementary.
figure. They're kind of killing it with the more personal indie vibe lately.
Yeah, that was
Alright.
like earlier on in their sweep of the industry too.
Yeah.
Sweep of the Nation.
Nash sweep.
Oh,
Yo, me and my buddies are thinking about doing a Nash sweep. You want to join in?
Dude,
We're gonna watch
dude.
Farewell.
Literally sweeping the Nation, shredding the
Nash
gnar.
sweep. Nash sweep.
Oh man. All right. Well,
We
Me
all
and my friends are
sweep.
gonna eat edibles and do a Nash sweep.
Dude, just get pitted like that. Get pitted.
all right. Well, before we get you out of here, theme of the day. What are your thoughts on locks for breakfast?
I would never do something like that.
Fair
He's
enough.
over here thinking about eating a master lock. He's like,
It's disgusting.
don't
Nah,
like
I'm not
someone.
Not really into that shit, bro, to be honest with you. I do love red onion on a bagel and capers, and
Okay.
I'm just the salmon thing. You guys should keep that one.
Yeah. That's how we're gonna start
Appreciate it.
I love
judging.
an onion.
We're gonna start judging
love
everyone that
onion.
comes on here. Be like, what is your bagel choice?
If I want pink on the bagel, I want some fucking Taylor ham. You know what I'm saying?
Pork roll.
Oh,
Pork
yeah,
roll.
you know, Jersey.
Or pork
Pork
roll,
roll,
whatever.
Taylor
Who cares?
ham.
Cool. But all right. So
It's basically bologna, so it's not a big deal.
all right. So
Fucking nice bologna.
all right. So the farewell. We'll watch that and then talk about it next week. All right. So
Sounds good.
Oh, so are you guys gonna kick me out after I can't kick myself out
yeah, something
as
like
per
that.
tradition?
Yep.
All right, I'll
So
do my
to
best.
make it all official. All right. Thanks, Connie. We'll see you next week then. Hey, he did it.
No, I did it.
Oh.
I kicked him out before he could say goodbye.
As he was pointing. All right, cool. We're pretty much about done here. What do you got? Any thoughts? Anything you want to share?
I'm finding it very cathartic to keep talking about, our problems with our lives on this show. And I like that that's what it's turning into. And I think if we get really good at it, we should consider changing the name.
Yeah,
If we
yeah,
start
yeah.
talking about feelings too much.
Yeah.
But that'll come later.
The word real can apply to we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, like it could be real deep or like real depth.
I
or,
don't think
like,
it should be real
deep.
deep. Imagine the next person you talk to, like, yeah, and I have this podcast. Like, yeah, you're talking to them on set. It's called, just Google real deep.
With 2 E's.
Yeah.
And they're like, deep always has 2 E's in it, dude.
You're like, wait. Oh, man. All right. So we'll start wrapping things up here. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching, whether you're watching it live or watching it through YouTube. As always, those are the 2 spots you can find us. And at either, you can see the links to all of our socials. We appreciate anyone who likes, follows, subscribes, all that, all that fun stuff, wherever it is. I'm still with you guys. Ian's in the Matrix. I thought you actually had a meta thing on for a second. I didn't.
Teach my
I didn't
headphones.
even realize you turned it. You're like, but yeah. But cool. All right. So then we'll be back same time next week, guys.
See y'all next time.
Bye bye.
Thanks again. Bye. Love ya. Beep bop boop. See you next time. Bop beep. Bop, bop, bop.
Goodbye.